All over the world, there are people with unique stories. Their lives are different from others for some reasons, and sometimes they hold mysteries that even science cannot explain. Today we will discover Thai Ngoc, the man who never sleeps, Wade Washington, the bodybuilder who suffers from cerebral palsy, Brahem Aiache, the one-legged dancer, and many others who are simply incredible. Let's go. Goliath is an incredible person who has proven that you can change your body and your life, and all you need is a good dose of willpower. As a teenager, Craig hated his slender body and called himself a toothpick. This bodybuilding enthusiast decided to take matters into his own hands. To look like those muscle men you see in magazines, Craig started intense bodybuilding sessions and followed a balanced, high-protein diet with plenty of slow sugars, carbohydrates, and protein. Today, and after several years of effort, the young man has overcome his complexes and managed to become a bodybuilder. A little more than he should, however. To tell the truth, his body has completely metamorphosed as Craig has gone from a 68 kg body to a muscle mass of 159 kg, for 1.91 m. Can you imagine that? Because of his size, Craig now looks like a giant, a real Hulk, who, despite his impressive physical shape, is unable to do simple things like tying his shoelaces or holding himself in a shower cubicle. Today, Craig works as a coach, but in the end, he admits that he doesn't want to stay this massive for the rest of his life. Cerebral palsy has never been an obstacle for Wade Washington, a bodybuilder who has always dreamed of building muscles and becoming a professional bodybuilder. Diagnosed at just 11 months with cerebral palsy, a disease that causes problems with muscle coordination and motor skills, the Houston-born American had no hope of leading an active life, especially after doctors discovered he had severe scoliosis at age 12. But far from wanting to give up, Wade decided to take charge of his life and train in weight training and gymnastics, pushing his physical limits. The man who was not expected to live more than 10 years, according to doctors' initial prognosis, is now 45 years old and has fulfilled his dream by becoming the first professional bodybuilder with cerebral palsy and scoliosis. Wade is living proof that anything is possible when you really want it. This young 23-year-old American model from Philadelphia has been affected by vitiligo since he was very young. But for a Vasmark, these stains are no problem at all. On the contrary, they represent for the young man a difference, a physical specificity that makes him special and makes him feel even more beautiful. In other words, a Vasmark fully accepts his vitiligo, which distinguishes him from others, and he tells anyone who wants to hear it that it is now a part of him, although he says he has wanted to treat it to make it disappear in the past. But today, for a Vasmark, working as a model posing for great photographers and magazines while having vitiligo can only make him proud to be himself, because through each photo he poses for, a Vasmark conveys a strong message and wants to inspire others. Indeed, he pushes others who, like him, have a physical particularity, to accept their specificity. In short, a fine example of self-confidence. This young American girl from Arizona is a woman with an incredible destiny. Born without arms, Jessica Cox is today an airplane pilot. Who would have thought? When she was born, her handicap caused a shock to her parents. But Jessica soon learned to do everything with her feet, such as eating, putting on makeup, performing daily tasks, playing the piano, or even driving, defying her disability on a daily basis. Indeed, nothing prevented this young fighter, also a surfer and black belt in Taekwondo, from living a normal and independent life and achieving her ambitions, including learning to drive an airplane. That's right. Jessica, who was voted the most inspiring woman of the year 2012, is a fine example of tenacity and willpower. Because nothing prevented her from believing in herself, the young American is today the first pilot in the world without arms. This young Mexican is suffering from a genetic disease that causes the presence of extremely dense hair on his face and body. Jesus Aceves, along with several members of his family, suffers from congenital hypertrichosis, or werewolf syndrome, a condition that causes excessive hair growth. His appearance earned him the taunting of his schoolmates, and in a circus where he worked from the age of 13 in Great Britain, along with two of his cousins who suffer from the same problem, things were not easy, since he was exposed as a freak. Back in Mexico, the young man decided to live his life as best he could, doing odd jobs and starting a family. His 3 daughters, however, inherited his problem. Despite his physical appearance, which he accepts, and despite the ordeal he lives through on a daily basis, Jesus Aceves has nonetheless managed to make himself known around the world, for it is thanks to his illness that the Mexican has become the hero of a documentary released in 2014 and entitled Chewy, the Wolf Man. This Chinese monk has a surprising power that defies the laws of physics and nature. He can run on the water. Of course, this superpower is not innate. Indeed, this Chinese martial arts and kung fu film enthusiast who, as a child, dreamed for a long time of doing incredible feats, trained very hard and for a very long time for this, even before joining the temple. It took him 9 years before he was able to run 125 meters on the water and make his dream come true. To achieve his feat, Shi uses boards that allow him to float for about a second. Of course, this movement is very different from running on dry land and very complex because it requires all the energy to both keep balance and runs forward at the same time. But Shi knows nothing but running on water. He can also balance on 2 fingers, climb walls, fly in the air, and even fly on water. His extraordinary prowess has not left the media indifferent, and the media has told the world what Shi Liliang can do. On the other hand, if the monk made use of this media coverage, it was only to raise the necessary funds to finance the schooling of underprivileged children. Bravo Shi! Brahem Aiache is a theater dancer with a great career ahead of him. And yet he has only one leg. Injured during a football match, the 31-year-old Algerian, who was destined for a career as a professional footballer, had his leg amputated when he was still a child. Despite this painful ordeal and several years spent in the hospital, Brahem emerged victorious and more motivated than ever. Despite having only one leg, the young boy returned to sports, including swimming, before discovering hip-hop dancing. He was 17 when he performed his first show in Algiers. After this promising first experience, Brahem took part in France's Got Incredible Talent and then in Arab Got Talent. He only reached the semi-finals, but he won over the public and the jury, and his performance allowed him to perform in a series of shows and to multiply collaborations with renowned choreographers. Today, Brahem has a great career as a dancer. Evolving on stage, with or without crutches, the young man has managed to captivate the attention of the public and his mentors thanks to this singularity which he has made an asset. With his impressive magnetism, talent, and determination, Brahem proved that disability is never an obstacle to living his passion to the fullest and succeeding. There's nothing more delicious than falling into the arms of Morpheus after dark, is there? But imagine, though, that you are unable to sleep a wink. It may sound foolish, and yet Thai Ngoc knows something about it. This 78-year-old Vietnamese man has not slept a wink since 1973. At least that's what he says. It all started when Thai had taken medicine to treat a high fever, which would have prevented him from sleeping to the point of not sleeping at all. Having suffered from permanent insomnia ever since, this farmer, a father of 6, would now work day and night and looking good as a charm. His energy remains intact, which baffles the researchers who have studied his case, going so far as to stay up with him all night long, without being able to find any explanation for this extraordinary chronic insomnia. In fact, despite all the tests carried out and the means used by the scientists to help the farmer regain sleep, including sleeping pills and a rocking machine placed in his bed, Thai Ngoc remained insensitive, seeming to demonstrate that he would not be able to sleep. But we know that Thai Ngoc, it is impossible, and if he managed to stay awake several days in a row while the scientists were present, we suspect he went to take a nap immediately after they left. In any case, Thai Ngoc tells anyone who will listen to him that he has only one dream, to be able to go back to sleep before the end of his life. Here's a story that will no doubt surprise you. Born a girl, Thomas Beatty is a transsexual of American origin who underwent breast removal and hormone treatment to become a man. But that's not the most surprising thing. In fact, Thomas became the first man to become pregnant. Thomas himself bore his first 3 children, which he had with his first wife. Thomas, born Tracy 46 years ago, had kept his female reproductive organs when he decided to become a man in 2002. Nevertheless, he decided to stop his hormone treatment when he had not yet completed his physical transformation and underwent artificial insemination to become pregnant after discovering that his wife was sterile. This is a wonderful secret that he chose to reveal on the French reality show Secret Story. Since then, Thomas has had a 4th child, but this time it's his new girlfriend who's carrying it. You have just discovered 10 unusual people. Which of them surprised, fascinated, or inspired you the most? Leave us your answer in the comments.